Hi, everyone. We're going to be covering chapter 14 in this video. Let me pull up the slides. Let me make sure this is looking good. Okay, good enough. Okay, chapter 14 talks about development team management. Biggest thing in this chapter is really the idea that when you're putting together new product development teams, the team that's actually making the product, it can really look a little different depending on the preferences for the product. And I would say a big part of this is the type of product you're making, if it's incremental, if it's radical, or if it's something in between. And just like products can be on that spectrum from incremental to radical, productization can be on a spectrum as well. So on one end of this is a functional team where the work is done by various departments, and they don't really focus on the product very much. This is really what you want to do if you don't want much innovation. If you're coming out with new packaging or new flavors of a product, like if it's potato chips and you're coming out with new flavors, you're not reinventing the potato chip in that case. You're just coming out with new flavors, which is essentially new spice mixes. You can really do a functional mix in that case where you're staying in your originally assigned departments and you're doing your kind of everyday job. A functional matrix is where you do start to have some team members who actually work together outside of the department. Other departments are still important. Balance matrix, you have kind of half and half. Project matrix, team people are project people first. In other words, your job is to work on this new automobile first, and then you worry about your everyday job second. And then a venture is where team members are actually pulled out of their everyday job and they're only working on whatever the new project is. So that they literally get in a venture, team members or employees, that is, they actually are totally getting a new job. So that's kind of the most dramatic example in this projectization spectrum that you can see at the bottom here. And this is really only for instances where you're really trying to come up with something very radical and very different, from what your company has done in the past. So example of a functional organization, Toyota generally does very functional organization. They sort of have, this is the engineers do one thing, they have salespeople do another, marketing people do another, and they sort of stick to sort of what they do. On the other end is something called a spin-out venture, and so Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works is an example of something that was spun outside, where the researchers would just focus on this high-end jets that completely goes away from what Lockheed Martin generally does. Or BMW sent designers to their bank design center in London to learn the Rolls-Royce culture and develop the Phantom. In that case, they were going completely away from what BMW had always done, and they're trying to create a product that has a totally different culture than what they're used to. So that's a spin-out venture in that case. And another example, you think of the case, the mini case that we had, remember, with BMW, that's really kind of like a spin-out venture, where the Mini's totally different than the BMW. So I'll give you an example here of a company and how their project management team might work. So Atlassian is a company that develops products geared towards software developers and project managers. Frankly, that part's not so important, but it's really, in this video, I think you're going to be able to see sort of how they set up their project management team and how they bring in customer input to develop new products. So give me a second and I'll pull up the video.
We've used the phrase internally, a good product manager has to be good at telling stories, identifying problems, and then connecting them with opportunities.
Product management needs to be able to take large sets of data, from customer data to analytical data, and refine that into a message that can be delivered to the engineers and the design teams so that we can ensure we deliver the best experience and value to the customer.
We work collaboratively with engineers, with designers, and the goal here is really to take all the collective ideas that we have and come up with the best solution that can then solve those problems.
Empathy is one of the key attributes for the product manager. The product manager has to understand exactly what goes on in the customer's mind.
When you go and interview a customer, talk to a customer, or even see a range of different requests or different problems coming in, having that intuition that there's something more there, or there's something really important, or that's the root of the problem that they're having that you need to delve into and solve.
The responsibilities of the product manager, they vary from very small detailed tasks, looking at the details of a particular feature, or doing 2-year planning with the product management team and defining a vision.
So the evolution of a new product is all about understanding and about validating. So we start off understanding what really slows our customers down, what are the pains they feel every day. From that, we form ideas, and then we take those ideas and validate it with the customer in whatever form we can, right? It could be very raw form, in fact. And through the process of validation, what we actually end up with is more understanding from the customer. So really, it is a bit of a cyclical process.
Love the fact that I've managed to grow my career, and now I'm in a cross-product role where I can work with more products, and it's a more complex role where I have to build a cross-product experience.
It's pretty amazing when you've worked on a feature for a few months and you ship it to customers to then hear back from them how the tool or the solution that you've built has impacted the way they work every day.
It feels like there are endless possibilities with the way that we can help people deliver great products faster. That's a real passion of mine.
Okay. Go back to the slides. Okay, so I think there's some pieces of information here that are pretty interesting in this video. You know, the one thing that really sticks out to me is the one quote where the developer is saying, you know, empathy is really a key attribute for their job. It was really just understanding, all right, understanding the pain points for customers, but then also understanding, you know, working with team members, understanding that they're coming at solutions from a different place. You know, an engineer is going to look at a problem differently than a marketer is going to look at a problem. And that's okay. There's a solution somewhere in there, but you have to have sort of that empathy to sort of say, all right, your solution is a little different than my solution, but there's probably some pieces of information that we both have that could be combined into ideally the best solution. So just, I don't know, quick video, obviously a little bit kind of promoting their company a little bit, but it does touch upon a lot of topics that I think are relevant to, you know, any company developing new products. So going back to our different types of management structures, you know, on one end, we have this venture type of structure or matrix. And really the problem here, when you roll out employees out of their regular roles, it can be difficult to manage them. It can be really complex. And because of this, you can end up having a lot of extra costs. So if you think about your case with BMW and Mini, you know, BMW employees weren't familiar with Mini at the time. And so it could get really expensive and difficult to manage when they go from being BMW employees to essentially being focused on just Mini. High projectization encourages cross-functional integration. So again, focusing on these sort of venture or matrix teams. It's critical in this case. It's critical, you know, to really think about, all right, what is going to be the speed to market? How quickly do we need to get out there? But then also how much, essentially, how much flexibility do we have to sort of learn a new product, learn a new category before actually, you know, selling the product. So we talk about speed to market. That's essentially saying, all right, do we need to have this product out this year, or is it okay if it takes another year? And that sort of question is going to determine what type of projectization a company will need. So who are you going to have in the team? I've kind of touched upon this a little bit, you know, marketing, R&D, manufacturing. You also might actually have other people, you know, legal people, warehouse packaging type people, logistics. people in other departments, even accounting is going to, they're going to play a role at some point, because you can't just spend all the company's money. So, an accountant is, they might not be an everyday team member in new product development, but they're still going to have a say at some point. So you need to sort of have that into consideration. What are some things to build in a successful team? I think some of the stuff you already know just from, projects you've done, being collaborative, having some sort of leader, a good manager, having good core and extended members, and then having a good product champion and empowering them. So product champion is actually someone a little bit different than just like a manager. This is someone who they're very interested in the project. They really want to see it go through, and they have the clout within the company to push it through. So this can be actually like a middle manager. It doesn't have to be someone high end, but someone who just really is passionate and is going to focus on this new product. So the idea here is that, product champions, they don't have to be from high levels in a firm. They don't even have to be marketing, but they're really the type of people, they take risks. They're sensitive to politics of a company, and they really want to see a project stay alive. They know how to get the resources to keep a project alive. Now, within any sort of team, and this really goes beyond just new product development, but obviously the focus of this class is new product development, there's going to be conflicts. So how does a team handle conflicts? Our past research has shown that there's really 5 different ways that managers handle conflict: confrontation, give and take, withdrawal, smoothing, and forcing. And it appears that confrontation, give and take, historically speaking, are the most effective styles. Confrontation would be where you debate an issue, conduct interviews with customers, generate some solutions, and find solutions that are most supported by customers. This actually kind of ties in with that Atlassian video, that this is kind of their approach, it sounds like, is confrontation. And give and take. You negotiate a set of features to build into your product, but you keep moving the project ahead. Now, I think just as interestingly, you look at the approaches that don't work as well. Withdrawal, avoiding conflict, right? Smoothing over conflict, but it's really superficial, or forcing a solution. I think we've probably, if you haven't experienced this, you will at some point in your careers. And I think you can sort of see why withdrawal, smoothing, and forcing, maybe those aren't necessarily the most effective ways to resolve conflict. Now, you're also going to want to consider, well, what if we have a global workforce, because we make global products? In chapter 13, I was talking about Oral-B and making electric toothbrushes. Well, everyone could use an electric toothbrush, right? That's not an American product. That's not a North American product. It's a product that has global implications, right? Anyone in the world could potentially use an electric toothbrush. Okay, but as you have a product like that, you need to be sort of sensitive to the idea that there's going to be cultural differences, even for basic products. There's going to be cultural differences as far as, everyday upkeep, and, even something like, all right, when are you having dinner? Dinner times are going to vary from one country to another. And that then means that when someone's using a toothbrush is going to vary from one place to another. Or, whether it's better to have a battery charged toothbrush or an electric charged toothbrush. Those costs are going to differ from one place to another. So these are sorts of like they're sort of little considerations, but they can have really big implications within a team for, what a finished product should look like. So how do companies handle this? How do they handle the fact that, they want to have customers all around the world? They want to have products that are appealing to customers all around the world, but that means it's going to be more complex. Well, Philips, one thing they've done is that they have a rotation where employees are sent to foreign locations, and they work in different functional areas for a 5 to 7 year period. I mean, that's a pretty extreme one, right? But that's a great way to really get a good appreciation for, everyday differences in different parts of the world. Kao, a Japanese chemical company, they shuttle workers between Japan and Germany. And the idea is that they want to see, okay, what's the difference in hair care products between Japan and Germany, and how our team member is going to have a better understanding of that. And of course, as you can imagine, you really do want to have, you want to invest in virtual technologies in order to make sure that, remote product development runs smoothly. Oh, and actually we don't have this case anymore, so we don't have to worry about that. I should have deleted this slide. So we can actually end it here. So that's it for chapter 14. If you do have any questions, please let me know. And thanks.